Alright, so we're going to go ahead and clean up this big old snapper here. First step is to go ahead and kind of make a slit behind the head, just like any fish. And you'll feel these gills, they kind of have an irregular shape. So I just try to find that little spot right behind them, and I try to kind of get over this way to the head because there is some meat right there. And then you can just kind of go down till you get all the way to the backbone. Then you're going to go ahead and make your slice through the skin. You're not going to try to go all the way through to the backbone just yet, but just kind of making just an indentation and just a little cut through the skin. I always start at about where the tail meets the body, and just go ahead and point your knife in and run it along what would seem like backwards up the back of the fish. Seems to be the easiest way to do it, until you meet the spot that you cut earlier. Now you're just going to follow the backbone and the ribs that come off the backbone. Try to get your knife to lay flat on top of them. All the way till you get to the backbone. Now once I get to that spot, what I do is get my knife on top of the backbone here, go through the whole fish, and go ahead and cut the tail section off like that. The reason I like to do that is because getting this fillet off these ribs right here can be quite tricky. I mean, it's just easier if you have more flexibility with this part of the fillet. So then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to kind of go over these ribs, and you'll feel them. Just kind of let your knife ride on top of them, kind of making a little arc over top of them. Once you get sort of where you can start to see the skin, the back side of the skin, then you can just take your knife and go following the top of the ribs right here all the way down to where your knife stuck through earlier, and you've got a nice piece of fillet, really not missing any meat. And you can kind of see, I'll kind of get down, you can see how tall that is. So when you're cutting, you have to go all the way up and over. So that's can be probably the trickiest part, to me anyway, of cleaning these big snapper. Next, I just go ahead and kind of clean it up a little bit before I take the skin off. Just try to get off any of this excess stuff that you're not going to want to eat. Then, to get this skin off the fillet, get it as close to the board as you can, and just start there at the tail, kind of holding it with your left hand. Go ahead and get it started. Once you've kind of got it started a little bit, instead of holding it like this the whole way, sometimes that I'll go through the skin by accident that way. But once you've got it started, I like to go ahead and follow along with the back of my hand, just putting some pressure right behind the knife, following the knife as I go. For two reasons. It's going to keep a lot of pressure down on this skin to keep it from sliding. Also, you can sort of feel how you're doing. Like, are you leaving too much skin, too much fillet, too much meat on this? And you can feel that as your left hand is going. So that's looking pretty good right here. Now you're going to have to kind of clean out a couple of these bones. And if you're going to have any bones left, which you most likely will, they're going to be in this section right here and to about right here of the middle where the backbone was. So what I like to do is make sure there's not any right here. Go ahead and do a shallow V right along where that backbone was on either side. That's going to cut out all of those bones. So you can see these two bones, 3, 4 bones right there. And that's going to take all those bones out. Now for the other side, it's just going to be the same thing, just opposite. And there you go, 2 beautiful red snapper fillets.